bring in Doug and Allie Cohen. They are the owners for Frameable Faces over in Orchard Mall. Great to have you both back on with us. How are you?
Woohoo! Good. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Good to see you again.
Still surviving?
Still surviving and maybe even thriving, you
I
might
was
say.
going to say we are definitely thriving.
We're hanging in there.
So if I can ask Allie, you say you're thriving. Is it because so many people put off getting their pictures taken last year that now you're basically double booking?
I don't know if I'd say that we're double booking, but because everything had to come to a crazy halt at the beginning of senior season last year, everybody's now like so excited to get back into the sense of normalcy. So everyone's like flocking. They're like ready to get out and have fun and capture all those memories.
I will say too, not just your high school senior pictures, but when we're looking at business pictures, one thing over the past year, I think a lot of people got caught off balance because they don't have professional headshots. Usually, unless you're one of the big people at a company or you have your own smaller company, you don't have professional headshots. But now you're starting to have to do all these Zoom meetings and, Google Meets meetings. You need a professional picture to put up there. Are you seeing people come in because now they realize the importance of having a professional headshot for business?
I think so, yeah. And because of all of the Zoom meetings, like you said, there's a bigger demand now for that than I think we've seen maybe ever in the past.
Well, it's not just that, but the old joke used to be that if your headshot was older than your car, you need a new one.
I didn't know that was a joke. I thought that was a Doug Cohenism.
No, I think I can't say I invented that.
No,
I think
I
I
thought you
heard
did.
that from somebody.
I thought
Yeah, but I mean, I would take credit, but that's just not how I roll. It's not mine, but I still like it. But I think now it's if your headshot was before the pandemic, maybe you need a new one. And on top of that, I think a lot of businesses, when the pandemic hit, some of them found themselves really well positioned because they already had a good online presence and they were able to do business online when people couldn't be face to face. But there were a lot of others that got caught off guard and didn't find themselves in a position to so easily pivot to online operations. And I think one of the things that's going to be left over and will stick from the pandemic is the need for having a solid and sustainable online strategy. And that includes the presentation of it and having an updated headshot and photos either of you, your staff, your location. So we're seeing a big run on people coming in and saying, all right, we need to refresh our website, our web presence. And so that drives a lot of professional headshot business for sure.
And with that too, how important if someone is getting new headshots, it be a reflection of their business and not just that standard gray background behind them, arms crossed, looking serious.
Right. That's one of the things that when we photograph someone for their headshots, I want to know as the photographer what that person that's in front of my camera does. What's their job? What do they want to convey with the headshots? Because like you said, it's not always, the arms crossed on the gray background. You want something that's going to give off that feeling when someone looks at it of this person is an expert, this person's approachable, this person's likable, this person knows what they're doing. So all of those things go into creating that persona through the headshots. We just did one that was outside and she wanted a natural environmental setting. So we were able to do that and she was very happy with the results and it looked great.
Right. Like if your business, if your business is based on your persona of being tough, you don't want to be like, you don't want to be like smiley, happy guy. If you're like, a prosecutor or something like that, it just depends on the type of business you're in. You want it to match.
Mm-hmm. And so with that too, if I can ask the both of you, because I was having this conversation with some of my friends a few days ago, your social media is your branding. And it doesn't matter what industry or who you are, but that really is a reflection into who you are. So how important is it for people to be aware of what they're posting on their personal social media as well as any professional social media?
Well, I think, and now we're dovetailing into my digital marketing things. But yeah, absolutely. I think people need to, if you're a business owner, if you're a small business owner in the community, you have to kind of be aware of, it's a very obviously polarized times that we're living in, and you want to be aware of the types of things that you post, and you don't want to trigger people and get into fights online. And you also want to try to keep, an image that kind of matches depending on who, I don't know, what am I trying to say here? I guess it depends on what kind of social presence you have personally online. And if you're somebody who posts a lot and gets involved in a lot of conversations, you want to protect your image a little bit personally if you're known as a business leader and an entrepreneur and a business owner in the community. You don't want to do something that will reflect badly on your business, whether it's image and how you look or what you put out there and the content that you put out, because you really should, I'm biased, but you really should be putting out content for your business as well. And if you're a small business owner and you're a customer facing type person, you're part of that brand. So you need to be aware of that on the professional side and the business side. And that a lot of that does come back to image, and bringing it all back, it comes back to, the image that you have associated with your business and how professional you look, or just how good you look. I mean, I don't want to say, when you say professional, sometimes you convey the image of being buttoned up and kind of conservative looking and professional, but professional can just be, looking good in the realm of whatever your business is. So, if you're an actor or a musician or an artist of some sort, you don't have to have a suit and tie on, but you still want to look good.
I think it's all about the personality, the quote unquote personality shot. You want your personality to come through in your professional headshot photo that you use for your social media.
Yeah, thanks, Allie. I think I rambled a little.
No, but that is good because with that, how do you have your personality come through? Because if one thing we've heard so much throughout the pandemic for businesses trying to survive is be authentic. So how do you be authentic and have it come through in an image?
That is incumbent upon the photographer and the relationship that photographer has with the subject. So once the subject is comfortable in front of the camera, that's when you're going to get the authenticity. So, frequently when I'm photographing someone, it's a pretty uncomfortable situation to have this huge camera pointed at your face and stand there and assume that you're going to look authentic. So frequently what I will do is I will compose the shot, I will move away from behind the camera, and I'm talking right to the person. And it's not this big lens in front of their face. It's actually me talking to the subject, the model, and that's where it's going to come through. So it's breaking down the walls and having that comfort level. And, usually for our photo sessions, we usually have a conversation ahead of time so that the first time they're coming in to have their photos taken, it's not the first time they're meeting me. So there's some sort of
like relationship already.
Rapport
relationship. Yes. Thank you.
Well, and you know what? It's there's not always as much time to get into that comfort level with professional headshots because they're pretty quick. It's a relatively simple photo shoot, if you will, because we book about an hour of time for a professional headshot, and the photos take place in about 10 minutes of that, and then you're done. And the rest of it is Allie sitting with the client at her computer, going through and doing a slight retouch, and we just hope that as we set it up and the conversation that we have with folks, we do find out more about their business and try to build a little of that rapport. With high school seniors, it's a little more detailed because those sessions are a few hours long, and we always bring in the high school senior with a parent ahead of time for a separate meeting. So we can actually get to know them and find out their personality, because it's a much more involved photo session and we want their true personality to come out.
So are more people booking photo sessions outside right now because of COVID, or are they comfortable coming back into the studio?
I'd say it hasn't really changed.
I don't think it's
that
changed.
much.
Yeah.
I mean, we still get a little of both. And frankly, except for that first 3-month major lockdown that we had last year in 2020, when things started to open back up, people started coming back to the studio, indoors and outdoors, because we would stay masked. It's our own studio. There's nobody else really in here. The client wears a mask to the mall. This is how it used to be. And when they got here into the studio, they would take their mask off for the photos, and then maybe they'd put them back on. We'd stay masked. It didn't really deter too many people from coming to take their photos indoors, and outdoors has really almost been unaffected because it's outdoors. So
how has technology changed your industry? Because now pretty much anyone can get Photoshop, and you can, we do know that cell phones are taking a lot better pictures, but they still are not the same on the level as a DSLR. But how's it changed? Has it made it more competitive?
I think it's made it yes and no. Yes, and that anybody can easily pick up an inexpensive DSLR at Costco, wherever, and set up an Instagram page, and boom, they're a photographer. The cell phone cameras, like you said, are increasingly, they're getting better and better and better, but there's still that need for, the professional photograph. There's only so much that you can do with your phone or sticking a camera in front of someone's face, and it's, kind of click and pray that something's going to come out. There is that education and that expertise that comes with all of the years that the people have been doing photography. So yes, it's made it a little bit more competitive because there's all these other not little people, but newer people, the newbies that are coming up and starting their photography business, if you will. So it's the ease of entry into the business is greater.
Right.
And there's some old school studios, like when we're in our photography groups online on Facebook or wherever, you see some photographers who've been in the game for a long time that lament, the people that are coming into the business that are just what they call shooting burners, where they just go out, it's like a part-time hobby for them. They take a bunch of pictures for not much money and just hand them over on a disc. And they lament how those people are damaging the industry. And you know what? We've always said that we don't really view them necessarily as our competition any more than Prime 29 views a Ponderosa as competition, kind of thing. Like, there's room for lower end fast food and as well as fine dining. I mean, I ate Taco Bell last week. I'm not above Taco Bell. I wouldn't eat there for a special occasion. But it has its place.
Right. And it does make people appreciate, those that are well-trained and talented, because there is such a talent behind what you do. It's art. It really is. Again, we're talking with Doug and Allie Cohen. They are the owners of Frameable Faces. So with that, if I can ask you, because we know summertime is when so many kids are getting their senior pictures. Are you guys pretty booked up?
Getting there.
We're getting there. So we've been booking, since April or May for this upcoming class of 2022. So we are booking. We are not booked up, but we are booking on a consistent, regular basis. So it's busy and it's great. And seniors, I think, are our favorite segment, niche, if you will, to photograph. It's just a very fun time, and it's just nice to get that sense of normalcy back to these kids who have had so much taken away because of the pandemic. So it's good to have everything back, and I'm looking forward to the senior season.
Yeah, for sure. We love seniors.
Oh, well, it's been so fun talking with the both of you, and continued success. You know what? These stories are the ones that we need to hear, the ones that show that, some businesses not only survived COVID-19 and the crisis, but are also thriving coming out of it. And you two are examples of that. So we always appreciate your time.
Thank you,
Thank you
so
so
much for
much.
having us. Frameablefaces.com.